So good afternoon. Welcome to eLogic Learning's first webinar of the year. We're going to be doing these short little snippets of training for your benefit, and hopefully this will be helpful and present more other topics in the future. Today we're going to talk about user groups and email campaigns. Just to get started, to introduce myself, my name is Tommy DeMasi. I am a QA and support analyst here at eLogic. I've been with eLogic for the last 6 months. Prior to working here at eLogic, I worked with a company that used eLogic as their vendor. So I've been a partner of eLogic for over 7 years and loved every minute of it. So I'm happy to be on the team. I am married with a 4-year-old little boy named Calvin. You see in the picture, he just started BPK, oh boy. And if I'm not at work, I'm usually at the beach, Disney World, or the mountains. So, a little background of myself. Today we're going to identify the purpose of user groups. Why do you use them? How to create a user group. Where in the LMS can you utilize user groups? One of the ways to utilize user groups is email campaigns. So we're going to show you how to create an email campaign, and I'll do a little demonstration of how that works. So let's get started. So when you log into your user group, why do you use user groups? One of the benefits of user groups, there's a couple ways, or a couple reasons. One is to send out a certain notification. So if you want to send out a specific notification to a certain group of people, so we do have notifications set up on our curriculum as well as assignments. So if you want to send something specific, maybe you're promoting a training or you just want to make them aware of a certain training that will be coming out in the fall. So some sort of targeted communication, or maybe you're doing a focus group and you just want to create some sort of communication and you want just a specific group of users to get it, you can use user groups for that. Another purpose would be if, let's say your organization hierarchy is set up where it's a little bit more broad than you would like it. So let's say your organizations are set up by a whole department, but you want to get down to the manager level and have a specific group just for those people. So if you take an organization and take about 20 people out of it and create a group, that way you can register them for specific courses, you can exempt them for specific courses, or you can send targeted communications to that group. Maybe you don't have attributes that connect individuals, so attributes in our LMS are user-defined fields, such as a lot of our users use it for job codes, hire date, maybe departments to narrow down that organization a little bit. So if the attributes still don't link a certain group of people, then this is the way you can handpick individuals and create your own group. So under the Users tab, there's an option for User Group Management. This is where you'll see existing user groups and where you can create your own. Now, if you would like to search for existing user group, you can search by name. You could search by the individual username. So if you want to see if anyone's already in a user group, you can search by their username. You can search by the manager of the user group, and you can search on whether it's active or inactive. As you can see, this is the full list we have currently in our system. Once you have your list up, you can sort it by name just by clicking on the name. It'll filter. Same with manager, create a date, and status, and number of users. So if you wanted to sort by any of these columns, you can. The last column allows you to copy a user group. So if you want to take an existing user group and just change a few of the items, you can actually select copy. So I want to copy Jim's user group, and I want to rename it. And then hit submit. And when I hit search again, there's my copy. I'm going to add a user group today to show you the full functionality of user groups. Once you're in the creation of the manage user group, and create the name at what you would like your group to be called. You would want to leave the status most likely at active. The only time you would inactivate it is if you weren't going to be using the user group any longer. Select the manager who's going to be managing that user group. And then you can make that user group private to the manager only. So only the manager is available to view this user group and use it. Once you hit submit, your user group has been created, and you now have the option to add users. When I select add users, it brings me to this page where I can search by just user profile, so I can find users specifically in the user search functionality, or I can search by user profile plus registration activity. So if there was a specific course or training session or whatever specific type of curriculum that you wanted to see the status of certain individuals, you could go in here and select the curriculum. So you can select as many as you want. So you wanted a series of curriculum that you wanted to look for. And then you wanted to see, you can see what status. So for instance, if you're looking for a group of individuals who've completed these courses so that you can register them for the next level. Let's say they've taken these 3 courses, now you think that they should take the next level course. So you would select complete and possibly pass so that you get everyone who's passed or completed these 3 courses. Now, another scenario might be you want to see a list of individuals who haven't started or in progress, and you want to send a message to them specifically about where their status is and to try to get them motivated in completing that course. Maybe it's not a mandatory course, or because I know we have certain notifications that will remind them that there's a due date coming up. But if, let's say, it's just a certain group, like I was saying, more condensed, maybe it's just a specific organization, and you need to remind them to get that course completed, then maybe you want to look for in progress or not completed or failed. So I'm going to take this group so that I can register them for the next level. So you could search, once you get to the user search page, you could search by their name, username, employee ID, organization. So if you're a group of users in one specific organization, you can search by that organization. And you can do multiple searches. So if there's more than one organization and you want to do the first search under one and then the next search under another, you can search by the user group eventually, but today we're creating one. And then the attributes are below. So if you're looking for certain job codes, you can select the job code. You can select if it's a department or hire date, anyone hired after a certain date. However you want to find your individuals, however they are easier to find. And once you have your group, hopefully there's more than just one, you can either select all or you can select just the individuals that you need and hit finish. So right now, this is the only person who's completed or passed this course. those 3 courses. Now, the one thing to keep in mind, this is real time. So it's not going to automatically update based on completion. So my list isn't going to add once someone else goes in and completes the course. You have to do it. You have to do the search again if you want to send another communication. So my suggestion to you is complete the user group and then go straight to view email campaigns and create your email campaign directly from creating the user group so it's real time. You have the most accurate data. Specifically, if you're using the in progress or not started status, because you never know if somebody will go in within the next hour and take that and update their curriculum status. So that is how you create a user group with using a completion status or some sort of status of the course curriculum. I'm going to go back to my user group management, and now I'll create a user group with just using the user search, not using the curriculum. My manager, submit. Now when I add users, I'm going to leave it with user profile only.
So basically I think all right, but we wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I was just writing back, like the ABA, I don't understand how an accommodation is not being able to come to work. Like ADA allows you to.
Okay. So when you get to the user search, again, you can search by their name, you can search by their username, their employee ID, their organization, an attribute. So if I wanted to find users by a specific organization, I can select that organization and select search. Within that, I'm going to select 2 people and hit finish. Now let's say I want to go and find another organization and find people within another organization. So I want to look and find more users. Okay, so I found a few more, and then I want to actually find one more user. That's me. By name, and add Tommy to notice. So here's my second user group. Now this is just hand-picked individuals that I'm going to use for maybe a communication or maybe to register a course. So now that my user groups are created, I'm going to show you where you can utilize the user groups. So under the Users tab, you can go to the registration wizard, select whatever course you want to or curriculum you want to register those students for. You can mark them as mandatory. You can give it a due date, however you want to give this to your individual. And when you get to the user search, you would go to the user group and find what user group you want to use. Select next. Once you get there, you can either select all or you can just select just a couple of the individuals. So I'm going to select all of them and hit finish. Now all of those students now have that specific course registered to them. You can also go under the Users tab and do a completion wizard. So if those individuals, let's say those individuals completed the training outside of the LMS and you wanted to give them credit and you didn't want to do it individually, you create a user group and you can go in and give them credit for that curriculum. So you select the type of the curriculum. You can either tell them, put it in their transcript that they completed it, that they exempt, or they passed it, whatever way that you want to present that on their transcript. You would enter in the completion date, if the course had a score, if the curriculum had hours that counted towards the work, if there was continuing education credit that needed to be added, and then hit next. And then you would find your user group again, hit next, and then you would select individuals. You can do it one at a time, and then, or you can select all, whichever you prefer, and then hit finish. Now those 3 individuals have that course as a pass on their transcript. So those are the 2 ways, and then the final is the email campaign, which we'll go through here in a minute. I did want to tell you that the 2 things that are commonly asked that do not work with user groups are assigning the curriculum. So you cannot use a user group to assign curriculum when you go through the curriculum assignment wizard, and you cannot report off of user groups. This is solely just to do mass registration for completion or mass completion, or to send an email for notification. Bill had a question, are there best practices on user group naming conventions? Not necessarily. I think it's going to be up to your organization. So depending on how you're using the notifications, but I would definitely name them with the objective in mind. So if you're creating a user group specifically for a promotional curriculum that you want to send a promotional notification to that group, you may want to keep the naming of the user group to that promotion. Or if you're doing it because your organizations are too broad and you want to create smaller groups, then maybe you do it by their department name or their manager's name. So whatever fits your need for the user group. Hope that answered your question, Phil. Okay. So now we're going to go through email campaign. So first step, creating a user group. Check, we did that. Next step is to create the email. So under other configurations, you would go to notification template management, and this is where you can create your email campaign notification. The same kind of search functionality. You can search by the email name. You can search by the status. So if you're looking for one you're going to edit or see if there's any that already exist, you can search for the email here. The type is always the best way when you're looking for the email campaign type. Our types are categories. So by giving the notification a type, categorizes it in email campaign. So when you go into email campaign, that's the notification you're going to see as an option. If you go into assign notifications to curriculum, you're not going to see anything that has a type of email campaign. So it's just a way of organizing your notifications and has it directly relate to what you are using the notification for. So there is an existing one. We do provide a template for each of our clients to utilize. So you can edit that template or you can create your own. So by creating your own, you just add a notification template. So I'm going to click on the existing one and show you how to set up this notification. So here's where you would enter in your name for that email notification. So kind of back to the other question about naming conventions. You want to make sure your email, the name of your email is clear, because when you're selecting it from the email campaign, you want to make sure you select the right one. So if you have 10 types of email campaigns, you want to make sure that's clear. So whatever communication you're sending it out for, you may want to relate it to that. So if it's a promotional, whatever your promotional ABC, you might want to name it that. Or if it's for the training, you might want to say the specific training name. This is solely for your organization within your system. Nobody else, they will not see that. The user will not see the name. Here's where, of course, it'll be active. You want to make it active. The type is email campaign. So when you drop down, you'll want to find email campaign and make sure it's associated with email campaign. This box is not valid in email campaign. It's just a standard box that goes with our reminder emails or any type of email notification that will send a reminder. Here's where you can select a carbon copy. So if you wanted to key in an email address, maybe an administrative email address that you need to have copied on these notifications, or you can use one of our tokens. Our tokens will pull data from your LMS. So if you wanted to include the org owner email, it will look at the user and copy their org owner. Here's where you put the subject. So this is where the user will see what the subject of the email is. So, you might want to put the curriculum name here. This is to remind you that blah, blah, blah is due next month. Or if you're doing promotional items, check out course ABC coming in September. However you want to promote that in the subject line for the user to catch their eye. If you're doing some sort of focus group and you want to put a survey in the notification, you can. So this is where you would select the survey. You would probably want to create it first under survey management. And then you can select your survey, and that the user will be sent the survey within the email. Down here is where you'll put the content of your email. And this is pretty standard throughout our system. This is our content editor, and it's very similar to Word. Has all the same types of formatting and functionality. So you have your, your alignment, your font colors and sizes. This is where you can do all your cutting and copying and pasting, and you can add pictures. You can add tables. Tables are always nice in our content editor because they kind of align the content and align any pictures that you might be adding. So just a lot of different options. You can also, if you know how to create content in HTML, you can use the HTML functionality and do it right here. But this is for users like myself who need to cheat and do it this way, use the designer. One last thing I want to show you on the content editor are the tokens. So I mentioned this earlier for the carbon copy, but you can also pull some information from the users to make it more specific to them in the message. So as you can see, there's a few items you can add: first name, last name, login name if you need to. If you need to remind them their username, you can. Once you've completed your notification, you hit submit. Now, step 2 is done. So you created your user group and now your notification. Now you're ready to create an email campaign. So under users, you'll see email campaign management. Again, it'll show you what existing email campaigns are available. If you have a long list, you can search by name, when it was sent, status, the user group it was attached to, and who the manager of the email campaign is. I'm going to add one today. Create your email campaign name. As you can see, the status is pending. It will remain pending until the date and time the email is sent, and then it will be considered processed. Select your user group that you created. And here's where you'll do your notification template, and then the date and time. You can click on the calendar, or you can key it in. You can click on the little clock, or you can key it in. And it is 11:57 my time. Try to get one sent to you before we get off the phone. And then you would do your time zone. Don't forget to change your time zone, one that's applicable to you or your users, and then hit submit. Now my email will be sent to me at 11:58. I have a question. Is it possible to include a test email for email campaign management? You can what I would do is, what I'm doing now is just kind of create a test and maybe send it to the managers first. Maybe that day that you're testing it and the time. You can do it that way. Or you can add them to the existing email or copy them to the existing email so that they see the email. Did that answer your question, Michaela? Perfect. Okay. I'm waiting for my email. I think I may have gotten it. Here it is. So here's my email. So congratulations. I've received my email campaign. So that was our first training session on user group and email campaign. I want to thank you all for joining our first session today. And if you want to find out more, we have a long list of trainings coming up throughout the year, and we'll hopefully continue through 2015. But please check us out at eLogicLearning.com. Kathy asked about the default address. That's going to be whatever default address you've plugged in. So all your notifications will come from that default address. And that's on your site configuration page that you put together. Okay. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you all. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you. You too. Thank you.